Hello, online sellers. Jordan Malik. You may know me already as the best-selling author of several ebooks about making more profits and higher sales for your Amazon or eBay business, or you might know me as the founder of FindSpotter, or via my blog, HonestOnlineSelling.com. I want to talk to you about some remarkable progress I've made in terms of used books. Selling used books, or sometimes new books if you can find them on Amazon via FBA. Lately I've been banking way over 1,000% ROI on used books, and I'm only cutting into the tip of the iceberg. I experiment with a lot of different things in terms of sourcing products, and you've heard me talk about toys or electronics or groceries or liquidation goods, etc. And I wish that I was starting all over, because if I was starting all over and I was only working for myself and not working for you guys, bringing you new ideas, etc., I would be focusing solely on used books, because it's getting more lucrative. And I think now being 2014, in the future, I think it's actually going to be better for booksellers, because it was highly competitive for a while, and now several things have happened, including a new resource I'm going to show you that's made a lot easier for anybody to source used books very, very cheaply and sell them for lucrative amounts of money. So why sell books and why now? Essentially, I've found that the quitters have cleared the deck. Amazon, particularly Amazon FBA sellers, have kind of rushed in. And when you ever have this rush of sellers coming in, there's kind of a quick filtering out process, because a lot of us were dismayed, 6 months, a year, 2 years ago, seeing a bunch of sellers come in. And I'm talking about particularly for books. I think everybody jumped on the bandwagon, and then when people actually, many of them realized that yes, you have to do some work to do this, it's not a push button business, and many of them just kind of hoarded the same 3 to 4 different categories of where to find books. So thrift stores and library sales were the only places where people were looking, and the market got saturated with booksellers. And as the competition increased, those booksellers quit. So these are the people that just, they're kicking tires, essentially. So that's the first reason why I think it's a great time now, because the competition has kind of cleared the deck, and the tire kickers and the people that are, selling books that they find in thrift stores and library sales, they have come and gone. When they realize that, for you to sustain this is a real business. And a lot of them have diversified into other things besides books. So people start out with books and they end up being, buying general products and wholesale, or transferring into toys or clothing or what have you. What they don't realize is that more profitable books keep piling up everywhere, every day. So much where the competition can't handle them all. So, you don't realize that when you're selling books, but there's more books coming into the marketplace that are going to be used. A lot of the books that are coming out today are small independent publishers that are coming out that are run in very limited quantities, and those, the days of printing 2 million copies at a time or whatever, I think generally have come and gone. That's for the big, the Harry Potter books or what have you, or the big autobiographical releases, etc. But now, as more books are released in print, and as smaller publishers print their books, those books eventually come onto the marketplace as used. So there's really no limit. Everybody is predicting the death of the printed book. I don't see that happening for a very long time. I think maybe 10, 20 years from now, we may see a sharp reduction of new books coming out in print. There's still a huge market for the printed book. Myself, I still buy ebooks and then have them printed up, because I don't like the idea of looking at them on an electronic device. I want something I can hold in my hand and read in bed or whatever, and I like the earmark pages and write on stuff. So the electronic book is not good for me. So there's more and more books that come on the market every day that are primed as used. Also, why I'm own profit proof, which I'm going to show you in this video, I heartily look for used books, because I have so many things going on. I really just kind of stumble across used books, or I rarely make a focused effort, and I end up reaping some really big profits. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Last point is that used books are still considered, for the majority part, throwaways by consumers. I know that as a seller, all you see is competition for your books in the seller marketplace. But really, if you bump into the average consumer, a book is something that they buy that sits on their shelf. When it comes time for them to get rid of it, they take up clutter, they throw them away, they give them to a thrift store, they throw them in a recycling bin, or they throw them on a blanket and have a yard sale for $1 a piece or 25 cents a piece or what have you. And all that phenomena work together to make that inventory very inexpensive for you, the bookseller. So I think books are almost the perfect inventory, better than any other type of inventory that a Amazon FBA seller is automatically approved to sell in. And that's because they have lower returns, meaning somebody buys a book, their propensity to return it is much less than, say, a toy or electronics, etc. There's lower buyer remorse, right? When people buy books, they need them. It's not like buying a $400 Apple iPhone and then getting buyer's remorse and returning it. And of course, books are generally much cheaper than an electronic or a toy or what have you. There's a much lower chance of a book not working, like an electronic item or a toy, or it's not as expected, like a grocery item. You don't have to worry about it damaged in transit as much as, say, a perishable item. It doesn't have an expiration date. And also the buyer's perceived value. Somebody wants a book, they obviously have a passion in the subject, and they want the book right away, and they can get it right away via Amazon Prime. And one of the major reasons I like books so much is they're ultra easy to prep for selling. You don't really have to do much to a book, particularly I'm talking about used products overall, where if you're like me and you sell used toys, and Amazon calls them collectible, or you sell used toys on eBay, there's a lot of prep work that has to go into that, ensuring all the parts are there, etc. Used electronics, you have to make sure that the item is working properly. Right, grocery items, you have to have a special decal for grocery items that indicate the expiration date. So books are relatively easy to sell. You can quickly gauge the condition, wipe them off, and you're done. Now I'm going to show you some of my own profit proof by using only 3 of the 40 sourcing methods that are described in this new ebook called Book Sourcing Secrets by Peter Valley. And if you just want to jump right to the book itself, you can just go to jordanmalik.com/booksecrets, jordanmalik.com/booksecrets, book secrets is one word, and get right to the info product itself. But I'm going to show you my success that I've had with used books, and this is just a fraction of what I've been selling. This is a book called Modern Chemistry. Note that the sale date was very recent, June 2014. The publication date is 2002. Yes, people buy textbooks that are several years old. It's not like students have to have a 2000 release for 2014 book. People buy old textbooks. I paid $2 for this, if you want to call 2002 old, and it sold for $29.95. See how this person wanted next day delivery for it? This is sold by Amazon FBA. The urgency, right? They need next day delivery. They're willing to pay the extra $3.99 if they're a Prime member to get it next day. So I paid $2. The profit margin is, I don't know, 6,000, 8,000 higher on that book itself. Here's a book I paid $1 for, sold for $19.95. It's a book published in 1998. Great Source Working Words and Spelling, Student Text, Grade 6. Again, another textbook. June 5th was the sale date. Okay. Biology 7th edition, 2004, a 10-year-old book. Bought it for $1 at a thrift store. All these examples you're seeing are either from a thrift store or from a garage sale. It sold for $25. Toward Digital Equity, Bridging the Divide in Education. Notice that some of these titles are very obscure. People that are just entering the book selling arena on Amazon FBA don't know what to look for them. If you're just scanning books, eyeing the titles, look for the more obscure titles that just sound like, well, it sounds like it serves a very small niche, because chances are they're worth a significantly higher amount of money. So Bridging the Divide in Education, 2002. I paid $1, sold for $34.95. Optical Networks, A Practical Perspective, paperback book, 1998. I paid 25 cents for it. Again, obscure title, right? Optical Networks, right? Not necessarily what you think of in terms of a popular title. This is very niche. 1995. Okay. Now I know everybody's telling me, well, Jordan, you're just talking about books that were sold in June, so people are going to the back to school season. Here's one that was sold in March. Apartment Building Millionaire. Again, think about obscure titles. How to Build Real Estate Wealth with No Cash, and I think it's No Equity or something. Anyway, copyright is 2010. It's a 4-year-old book. I paid 50 cents, and it sold for $74.95. Okay. Now I know there's other titles that I've sold for $9.95, $14.95, etc. But again, I'm paying $1, 50 cents, etc. In my next video, I'm going to review for you the guide I've used. Only 3 of the recommended sourcing methods in the guide. There's over 40 methods. I've only used 3. And it's a book by Peter Valley called Book Sourcing Secrets. And I'm going to go over some bonuses that are included in that book if you buy just on or before July 14th, which is about 3 days from now. Again, if you just want to jump ahead to the ebook itself, go to jordanmalik.com/booksecrets. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.